Hello, I'm Lucy from Colouring in the Midst of Madness, and today I am helping out with the blog tour that is run by Michael O'Mara, who have published this new book. Now this is Colourmorphia by Kerby Rosanes, and this is the UK edition, and it publishes tomorrow. The US edition is already out, and the way you can tell the difference is that the UK edition has this white text with a blue background down the side, and the US edition has the lettering in rainbow letters, so it's nice and easy to tell the difference. Now I haven't actually done a review in the last 6 months, so I might be a little bit rusty, so please do bear with me. I'm going to be doing a full flick through as well as a review, and if you want to see my written review then you can find the link to that in the in the box below, in the description box. So this is the 6th and final book in the Morphia series by Kerby Rosanes, and this book has no new artwork in it. It's a compilation of all of the best and favourite images of the previous 5 titles. Now those are Animorphia, Imagimorphia, Mythomorphia, Phantomorphia and Geomorphia. So they are arranged randomly within the book. And you're getting a really good selection of images. So I think I counted that there are 78 images, pages, but the beginning starts a bit differently because it has these coloured pages which have been coloured by some of the colouring community. Now you can find the, I think these are the Instagram handles for the artists, colourists who have done each one. And there is also some written commentary about why Kerby chose these specific ones to be included, and how they were created and what he particularly likes about them. So they're really good inspiration for your own colouring, and certainly the page I coloured was actually inspired by one of these coloured images. So I mean, I'm totally in awe of these. I have no idea how people create these effects. I certainly feel like my colouring isn't up to scratch compared to these, because they really are just beautiful. And they're a really good addition because they're very good for being used as inspiration if you need a bit of a hand with picking out colour schemes and things like that. So this page inspired me for colouring mine later in the book, which you'll see. I really liked the contrast and the black background, and I normally don't gravitate towards skulls at all, but actually I really liked how this was done, so I thought I'd get myself out of my comfort zone. So now we come to the colouring section, and so everything else from here on in is colouring pages. The one difference with this is that there is no search and find aspect. So in the previous books there were lots of little objects in each page to find, and although those objects are still included, they haven't been removed from the illustrations, they aren't listed at the back, they're just sort of part of the page. So I found that there's a really good selection of images. Obviously the previous books were somewhat themed, and so they weren't all to everyone's taste, but this is a really good selection of single images as well as double page spreads. And as Kerby has gone on with his illustrating style, this is from Animorphia, there are fewer of these doodles in his later work, so for those of you who didn't like those so much and were kind of put off from Animorphia and Imagimorphia, there is much less of that in the later books. And obviously because those images are included in this, there are fewer of the sort of random alien creatures and doodles. So within this book there are all sorts of different images. There are animals, there are mythical creatures, there's sort of metallic and machinery type images. There are objects, there are florals, landscapes, there's absolutely everything. And you can see, I mean, even just on a double page spread, how varied the content actually is. Now the paper is bright white and it's got a sort of light tooth. It's a medium thickness, and I have found that it's been really good with pencils. So I coloured my page, which we're about to get to, with Caran d'Ache Luminance pencils. So here's my page that I have coloured for this review. So yeah, I've done all of the brightly coloured bits in Caran d'Ache Luminance pencils, and then the background I did with 2 layers of Faber-Castell Pitt pen. And as you can see, there is absolutely no shadowing or bleeding through to the other side. Now, I haven't tested actual water-based pens yet, but I will write a comment in the description if there are any issues with those, and it will also be in my written review. Pitt pens are Indian ink, so it behaves a bit differently. Now, alcohol markers will of course bleed, and you do need to be a bit careful with watercolour pencils and paints, because if you over saturate with water, then that may bleed through. But this paper seems to hold up very well to most mediums, and yeah, it's just a lovely book, really. So in terms of mental health, I personally think that this book is absolutely fantastic. I've had a lot going on in my personal life recently, which is why I haven't been reviewing for the last 6 months. And I actually haven't coloured anything other than this since January. And it took much longer than I was expecting. I'm definitely out of practice. But it was really good for helping keep me distracted. It really helped me to focus on something that wasn't sort of my thoughts and all of the stuff going on in my life. And there's just so much variety that you really can pick something for sort of any occasion. So if you're feeling happy or sad, or if your symptoms are playing up and you need something much simpler, like this image is obviously really, really detailed. There's so much going on in it. And you could colour each tiny bit of tree separately, but equally you can just colour over it. So like the snakes here in Medusa's hair would be really good for just doing a blend rather than colouring each section individually. So there is a real variety of detail levels. The line thickness also varies a bit, so this is quite a bold line. I mean, by no means would you call any of these illustrations simplistic, but they do vary. Now, this is one of the images, so this isn't a new image, this is the cover of Phantomorphia, but because that book and Geomorphia as well, they were both printed single-sided and just on the right-hand side of the page. So the back half of the cover images wasn't included anywhere. So I'm really, really pleased to see that they have been included in this book. So, as I say, this is the Phantomorphia cover. We also have the Geomorphia cover a bit later. So it's really nice to have those included so that you can actually colour the whole image rather than just the front half in the original books. So yeah, you can see just how wide-ranging this content is. So there really is so much. Now the binding is glue and string bound. You can probably see the string there. It is very, very tight on arrival. I have really, really had to kind of work this to try and get it as flat as it currently is. And it could definitely still do with some work. So it does ease up with use. You just need to be a bit patient. And just kind of persevere, and then you can get into the majority of the gutter. Now there are no pages where you're meant to sort of add your own doodles. That kind of got phased out after the first or second book. So this is very much one for those of us who can't draw at all. But you could add in some backgrounds on some of these pages if you wanted to, but that's by no means a requirement. There's absolutely no need to do that if you don't want to. So there's a good assortment of mythical creatures throughout. I absolutely love this page. I really want to do a rainbow of jellyfish going into this whirlpool sort of tornado-y thing. But I haven't quite worked out how to do the colours yet, which is why I didn't pick that page to colour for doing this review. So there's a good mixture of double page spreads and single images. and some of the original double page spreads have been just printed as half, so like the hot air balloon, and there's a fish later on that was in a pair but is now just a singular image. So although I know some people were disappointed because this is a compilation and it's not new images, I think it's still a really good book to have, because it means that you can colour a lot of these images again, because these are some of the more popular ones. Lots of people will have already coloured lots of these, and so you get a second opportunity to try out a new colour scheme, or just to give it another go, because some of these books came out a number of years ago, and so your technique is likely to have developed and improved, and so it's a really good thing to go back to the same image again a few years later and have another go at it and see what you can do now to compare with what you were able to do. It would also be a really good first book. If you can't pick one of his themes, then this is a great book, because you don't have to pick, you can have all of the themes all at once. So again, as I mentioned earlier, this is the Colourmorphia cover, again with the back half image there. And I absolutely love this image, it's one of my favourite ones. I love whales and ice and wintry things, so this is a particular favourite of mine. And this lovely unicorn. So yeah, there's a really good assortment of images. They will take you various amounts of time to do, and obviously that completely depends on what mediums you use and how you colour and whether you're adding your own details, etc. So it's a really good book for lots and lots of different levels of conditions, and for getting you out of your comfort zone. I find that Kerby's illustration style is so beautiful that even when it's content that you might normally not like so much, like me with skulls, it's still something that you want to colour, which I think is very, very impressive. So yeah, as I say, this book is already out in the US with the rainbow writing on the cover, and it publishes in the UK tomorrow. I haven't yet reviewed Phantomorphia or Geomorphia. I do have copies of those, so I'll be reviewing them soon. And my links to my reviews of the first 3 books are in the description box below. So I hope that you've enjoyed looking through the book and listening to my review. Hopefully it wasn't too rusty. And if you liked the video, then please do give it a thumbs up. Please do subscribe to my channel. I will be a lot more active soon. Things are calming down in my personal life, and so I should have far more time to be able to get back to colouring, because I've really, really missed it. So yeah, please do subscribe to my channel, and leave me a comment below letting me know what you think of the book, and I will see you again soon. Thanks very much for watching.